Hello and a very good afternoon to all our viewers. You have tuned into ET Now. This is Market Fatafat. I'm Srishti Sharma and with me is Ankita Saxena. And viewers, this is the show where in the next 1 hour, we're going to be highlighting all the counters that are buzzing either on the back of the news flow or on the back of the technicals. And we will connect with our team of researchers as well as our technical expert for today in a short while from now. But firstly, let's have quick look what the markets are up to. So holding on to the strong gains as today we have seen Nifty touching its all-time high levels and Nifty is still holding on to the gains of 142 points. Nevertheless, there is a bit of a cool off from the day's highest point, and similar is the case for the Nifty Bank as well, which is now holding on to the gains of 408 points. India Wix is clearly supportive and clearly cheering the rally and supporting the bulls out there as India Wix is down about 5.5% as of now. If we talk about the sectoral performance, then definitely all the shine and the store's topper today are the metal counters, be it JSW Steel, Tata Steel. Other than that, Hindalco are some of the counters that are buzzing and taking the shine of the metal counters ahead. If we talk about some of the PSU names, then Hincopper, SAIL are some of the other stocks that are buzzing in trade. On the flip side, the auto counters on the back of just ahead of the auto sales data are seen to be a bit under pressure. Stocks like Eicher Motor is down about 1.6 odd%. Motor Corp is also declining about 1%, and even Bajaj, we are waiting out for the numbers as well, and this time the stock is about 0.5% as of now. If we talk about the broader markets, lastly, then the broader markets are clearly supportive because on NSE there are just 260 odd stocks which are seen to be declining, and the rest of the counters are still holding on to the gains. So Ankita, great day for the markets today.
Absolutely, Srishti. A good way to start the new fiscal, of course, with markets with Nifty hitting its all-time highs. But moving on, we are joined by Dhwani Patel, who's the founder of Finversify, and on our research team, we are joined by Shesha and Gaurav. Hi, all three of you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we'll start with the countdown of all the stocks that are buzzing away in trade. With that, the first pick is Srishti. I've picked out HAL or Hindustan Aeronautics. It is on the back of the fact that the company has signed a contract worth 1,173 crore rupees with Cochin Shipyard Limited for the supply of 6 sets of LM2500 gas turbines and GT auxiliaries, spares, tools for the Indian Navy next generation missile vessel project. And also in an update, it has clocked in highest ever revenue of 29,810 crore rupees in FY24, which is a growth of 11% versus 9% last year. And the order book also stands in excess of 94,000 crore rupees as on March 31st, 2024. And the back of that, HAL is firing away up to more than 2.5% in trade today, Srishti.
All right, that's HAL, but moving on then, and let's go across to Dhwani then to get her first stock for today. And Dhwani, first of all, a very good afternoon, and let's talk about your first counter, that is NTPC. Holding on to the decent gains in today's trading session, but what are you looking at, and what are the next levels that you are looking forward to?
Good afternoon. The stock that we're talking about, NTPC, today we are seeing the stock has got about 2.5% of gains over here. We're trading near day's high, and overall if you look at the chart structure on a daily basis over here, the stock has definitely been trading in an upward trajectory. Recently we did see certain fall coming in, but the support level at 310 was pretty strong over here, from where we are seeing rally further up. From current level, it's a buy recommendation on NTPC for a target on the higher side over here. Firstly at 360, and post 360 we will see 380 coming on in this counter. The stop loss that one needs to maintain over here is of 325.
All right, 325 as the stop loss. Looking out for more targets from the current market price. But let's shift focus to the auto counters then. And a couple of companies has come out with their numbers. So let's recap that. First of all is Escorts, where the company has come out with the tractor sales data for the month of March, near about 8,500 of units. That's slightly below than what we were expecting actually at ET Now. So a slight disappointment, but the commentary is actually very positive, where they are saying that they are looking ahead as early signs of the early signs point to an above average normal monsoon in FY25, and they anticipate the demand will stabilize post elections. And the similar positive commentary we are getting from M&M Tractor Division as well, where they are forecasting of a normal southwest monsoon this year, and that's expected to further boost the momentum for the tractor industry as well as push the demand as well. When it comes to M&M Tractor Division, then and the numbers were in line to what we were expecting. That's a 20% jump on a month-on-month basis. So a decent set coming in from the tractor division, while the commentary is really positive. But when we look at the passenger vehicle segment, then M&M Automotive Division, a slight disappointment this time versus our estimate, a 6% decline on a month-on-month basis. The SUVs have declined 2 on a month-on-month basis, and hence we are seeing that the stock of M&M is not that geared up in today's trading session, while for Escorts, on a back of positive commentary, the stock is up around 2.5%.
All right, moving on. Dhwani, you picked out Titan for us. Now, Titan at this particular counter is, of course, has always been on the radar for the long-term investors. But tell us, what are the charts penciling in for this particular counter?
Definitely, it's a counter that's good for long-term investing. But as of now, for a short-term basis, we are seeing a certain resistance coming in on this counter. On the daily chart, the downward sloping line breakout that we saw yesterday has failed in today's session, and we are seeing a further slide coming in on this counter. From current levels, it's a short coming in on Titan for short-term basis on for a target of 3550, and a stop loss ideally on the higher side has to be kept at 3840.
All right, that's a shorting opportunity that Dhwani has came out with on Titan. But moving on then, and Ashisha, coming to you to have your first talk, and that is the star of today, that is PNB Housing. Tell us more on that front. What's the news flow?
Well, yes, the stock is clearly soaring in trade today, 12 to 13% higher on the stock as we speak, and this is because ICRA and CARE have upgraded long-term rating on this counter to AA+, and on the back of this rating upgrade that has come through, Morgan Stanley has come out with a note where they are maintaining overweight stance on the stock with a target price of 970, indicating more than 50% upside as compared to Friday's closing price. Today, of course, the stock has run up nearly 13%, but 970 is the target that Morgan Stanley has given on PNB Housing Finance. They see this development as a positive for both growth and profitability going forward. It will help in increasing availability of capital and will also help the company get capital at cheaper costs. It will benefit loan spreads and loan growth over a period of time. And they also talk about the underperformance the stock has shown over the last few months on account of the correction that we saw in mid-cap and small-cap space. And they believe that the recent downtick on the stock is a buying opportunity. So they have given a target price of 970 with an overweight rating. On account of this update and a report that has come in, the stock is gaining in trade today.
All right, that was PNB Housing today, soaring away in trade, saw almost gains of 13% in trade. But coming to you, Dhwani, you picked out Manappuram Finance for us. Tell us, even this particular counter, it is saw a sharp spike coming in the morning. In fact, it's trading with gains of 4% as of now. But tell us, what are the charts saying? Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. On Manappuram, particularly what's interesting over here is more of the derivative data that we are seeing in today. There are long build-ups coming in on this counter. From current level, I'm expecting a level of 190 as a target on the higher side, and on the lower side, the stop loss of 174 should hold up.
All right, those are the levels that you should watch when it comes to Manappuram Finance. Moving on then. And Sterlite Technologies is the counter that you have picked up, Gaurav. The stock is also gaining significantly in trade today. Tell us more on this front. What's the news flow?
Right. So talking about Sterlite Tech, now the company has has announced a partnership with Voltas Group, who is actually a specialist fiber and network provider in Australia. Talking about the company's partnership, they have already been actively involved in developing optical fiber solution with Voltas before as well. And with this partnership, if you look at the company's trajectory in the last 3 years, we have seen Sterlite Technology has provided more than 1,000 kilometers worth of optical fiber cables to Voltas. And talking about Voltas itself, the company has 25,000 kilometers of fiber network in Australia already. And on the back of this partnership news, we have seen the stock has performed very in a positive note, and the stock is up almost 10%. So it will be really interesting to see how this partnership will work out for the company, because this could be a very big news for the company's revenue in the time coming ahead.
All right, moving on. Dhwani, coming to you, you've picked out Voltas for us. Quite a few people picking out Voltas for us. Beginning of course, the summer season. But tell us, last 6 months, 30% gain. Last 1 month also, it has run up, 5%. What is the upsides you're seeing on this counter?
Yes, absolutely. The reason why Voltas is becoming more of a technical talk right is that there's a gap down which we saw in this particular counter. Currently, the stock is trading between the gap and trying to close it on the higher side. The target for this one comes at 1150, and post 1150 we'll see 1200 also, which is suggestive as a derivative data also on the higher side. The stop loss ideally on the lower side has to be kept at 1090.
All right, moving on then, the other stock is Chennai Petro. Now, for this particular counter, the board has accorded approval for the revision in cost of the CBRPL project from 29,300 crores to 33,000 crore rupees, and the board has also accorded approval for the revision in capital structure of the joint venture with 75% equity from the Indian Oil and 25% equity from the company itself. And we can see a major sharp uptick coming in the last half an hour. The stock is trading with a gains of 3.5% right now.
All right. So that's why Chennai Petro is buzzing in trade for today. But with this, viewers, let's move on and let's slip into a very short break in this edition of Market Fatafat. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back to tell you more of the buzzing counters. Welcome back to Market Fatafat, and let's continue highlighting all the counters that are buzzing as of now, and let's shift focus to the pharma major Aurobindo Pharma, which is in the news flow and also reacting positively to that, wherein the company has said that they have actually commissioned an integrated PenG plant, that is penicillin G, which is a drug which is used in bacterial infection, and they've also announced the commissioning of an injectable facility and a pellets plant as well. Now, the manufacturing of the PenG project is under the PLI Pharma PLI scheme that has been approved by the government. The company has done a capex of around 2,000 crores in this one, and this green field is targeted to manufacture 15,000 tons of PenG per annum. So why this plant is actually important? The key to note is that India has a lot of dependence in terms of imports from China for this particular drug. This is a very important drug that is used in a lot of different products manufacturing, like antibiotics, etc. And this PenG annual import in India is over 26,000 tons, and if this project goes through successfully with the full capacity, then this could actually substitute 57% of the domestic demand. But the key to note is Aurobindo, given their personal consumption use as well, they expect to consume around 45% of the product that is being manufactured in this particular plant by themselves. But the analysts believe that whenever they go ahead and sell the rest of the remaining products, this could add an incremental earnings contribution to 8.5 to 9.1% in the upcoming years, with a margin expansion expected of 150 basis points due to this backward integration, and hence we are seeing the stock reacting positively and holding on to the gains of 1.8%.
All right, moving on to the other counter, then Dhwani, you have picked out Apollo Tyres for us. Now, this counter in the last 6 months has given us gains of some 25%, but in the last 1 month, we're seeing a correction, a consolidation coming in on the stock. Is this time to buy? What is the upside that you see?
It's not a buy over here in Apollo Tyres, it's an exit or a sell recommendation coming in on this particular counter. We have seen the stock taking a double top on daily charts where 555 as a level was not being broken out. And in the current situation also, what we are seeing over here is that the stock has tested its 200 period exponential moving average, given a breakdown, and currently we are moving towards the 50 period exponential moving average from the current levels. It's a sell coming in for a target of 440. The higher side, the stop loss that one needs to maintain is 475.
All right, moving on to the other counter that is buzzing away in trade, that is Adani Power. In fact, the share price had jumped 5%, to hit the upper circuit following its announcement on Mukesh Ambani's Reliance Industries picking up a 26% stake in Madhya Pradesh power project of Gautam Adani, and signing a pact to use the plant 500 megawatts of electricity for captive use. Now, Reliance will pick up 5 crore equity shares in, the Mahan Energen, a wholly owned subsidiary of Adani Power, for the face value of 10 rupees at power. Now, besides this, in a separate BSE filing, the company also announced the consortium financing arrangement of 19,700 crore rupees. The company has consolidated the standalone term loan facilities of the SPVs into a single long long-term rupee term loan facility of 19,700 crore rupees under a consortium financing agreement comprising 8 lenders. Now, the revised agreement will, allow the company to benefit from uniform terms and greater financial flexibility in addition to reducing the effective rate of interest, and that's the word coming in from the management of the company. And on the back of that, we can see the stock is still locked in upper circuit now.
Well, yes, that's great gains on Adani Power, but another stock that is powering ahead, that is Tata Power. And no stopping for this one, Dhwani. Tell us what's the next stop as per you for this counter.
Absolutely. There's no stopping for this particular counter. We are seeing constant upward rising channel forming on this one. On weeklies, dailies and the intraday time frame, all the 3 time frames are confirming that the stock is ready for further momentum on the higher side. The next target that I see over here is 430. And post 430, we'll see new all-time highs coming over here. The stop loss that ideally one needs to maintain over here is of 395.
All right, moving on to the other counter that's buzzing in trade. Shesha, Indus Towers, I believe it is buzzing on the back of a note by CLSA. Tell us what is the note.
Well, absolutely. It is on the back of that CLSA report. The stock is off the highest point, but despite that gaining over 6% as we speak. So CLSA has gone ahead and maintained its outperform stance, but they've increased their target price to 335 from their earlier target price of 265. They say de-rating on the stock is now reversing. It is perhaps behind us. Indus is now getting payments from Vodafone Idea, which will help boost growth for the company from here on. Further sector consolidation with Brookfield acquiring ATC's India Towers will also be a positive for Indus Towers, and they say that the stock is also cheaply valued. It trades at 65% discount as compared to global peers, which is also expected to narrow going forward. So very positive report that has come in where CLSA is maintaining its outperform stance with a revised upward target price of 335. The stock on the back of that report is gaining in trade over 6% higher as we speak.
Right, that's in the star for you. But moving on then, and Dhwani, let's talk about Laurus Lab, one of the key underperformers in the pharma space, but once again trying to move and cross that level of 400 rupees. How much confidence it is showcasing on the technical front, and what are the next targets?
What are we seeing on daily chart over here in Laurus Labs is very interesting, where we are seeing a triangle formation coming in over here on technicals. It's started since 2nd January and it's continuing further into the same formation over here. That's the reason why we are seeing certain confusion coming in over here. The breakout of this triangle is at 420, so currently playing inside the triangle. I would like to give a buy recommendation for 420. Once we have a breakout from here, 450 is the next technical target coming in on this one positionally. The stop loss that one needs to maintain over here is of 395.
All right, moving on. Coming to you, Gaurav, then Confidence Petro, that's the stock that you picked out for us. Tell us, why is this stock buzzing in trade?
Well, talking about Confidence Petroleum, it won't be wrong to say that Confidence Petroleum is getting some confidence from the investors, because if you look at the company's performance, it has now commissioned 3 more CNG stations in Bangalore, and now the total number of CNG stations have reached to 35 versus what it was on 32. Furthermore, if we talk about the company's efforts in the CNG segment itself, the CNG delivery, the retailing division has now crossed 1.4 lakh kg per day sales for the company in a single day. Now that is again a big achievement for the company's sales. And lastly, company is also progressing towards its target to reach 100 CNG stations in the city of Bangalore itself. And on the back of this news, if you look at the stock performance also, it has gained almost 6% in today's trade. So it will be really interesting to see how this stock performs in the days coming ahead.
Absolutely, Gaurav. We will be keeping an eye out on Confidence Petro on the back of that news flow. But moving on to another counter that is buzzing in trade, and that is on the back of multiple order wins, is RVNL. Now the share rallied almost 4% in early trade, after the company bagged multiple projects. It has emerged as the lowest bidder for design, supply, erection, testing and commissioning of upgradation of electric traction system in Kharagpur division of South Eastern Railways to meet the 3,000 MT loading target, and the cost of this work is going to be 148 crore rupees. Now the company has also emerged as the lowest bidder for the construction, design, supply, testing and commissioning of 25 kV 50 HZ, a single phase AC electrification OHE and TSS works for Araria of NF Railways, and the cost of this said work is likely to be around 95.9 crore rupees, and it is likely to be completed in the next 240 days. Also, the joint venture between the Salasa Techno Engineering and RVNL has emerged as the lowest bidder from Energy Development Corporation Limited for plant design, supply and installation of 45 kilometers, 110 kV double circuit, in this transmission lines, and the total cost of this work is likely to be $7.15 million. On the back of that, the stock has been buzzing away in trade. Multiple order wins coming in for RVNL. The stock is up in a way more than 3.5% in trade today.
Okay, RVNL running fast in today's trading session. But with this, viewers, let's welcome the new fiscal year and understand the changes across the board that will come into effect from today. Now, Sharath is standing by with all the details with relate to the regulatory changes, the stock-based changes and more. So take us through that, Sharath.
Well, some of the key announcements have come in and new regulations or rules have been kicking in from April 1st. The first one being NSE will be cutting the cash and derivative transaction charges by almost 1%. And also if you look at IRDI, they are expected to change the surrender charge norms, which would be beneficial for the end users as well. Now, EPFO account will also be in focus, which will be actually you won't require the request from the employer to transfer PF amounts when joining a new employer. Also importantly, the new income tax regime that will become the default tax regime. That means if you don't actually opt for it in a new basis, then the new regime will be applicable to you by default. Fast tag collections, the toll KYC is must now. And importantly, mutual funds, they will be also stopping fresh subscriptions happening in the overseas ETFs. Importantly, companies which are required to pay their suppliers as registered MSMEs over here, they are required to pay it within 15 days or up to 45 days under an agreement. And for the Mumbai residents, the toll rates for Bandra to Worli ceiling, that will also go up by 18%. To put in perspective, the one-way charge would be roughly 100 rupees. Also, the stock impact, that is something we'll be watching out for. Dilip Buildcon would be in focus. There's a hike in toll charges coming for the Bangalore-Mysore highways, south-based developers, as there is no property tax hike in Bengaluru. SBI card will be levying 75% more rupees for debit card as annual maintenance charges. Tata Motors will be increasing the commercial vehicle prices by roughly 2%, and Mumbai-based players in the realty segment will also be in focus, and we had already pointed out and ET now exclusive that there is no hike or change in duty structure and the ready reckoner rate for both Mumbai as well as Maharashtra. Apart from that, lastly, ALMM scheme, which is basically the approved models and manufacturer scheme for solar PV modules, that will come into effective, which would benefit domestic players such as Tata Power, BHEL, and in the small cap space, Insolation Energy as well.
And well, with that, it's time for us to slip into a short break. You don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.